Hello and welcome to another audio analysis. In today's video we're taking a look at the track The Narcissist by the English rock band Blur. This is the first single to be released from their upcoming 9th studio album The Ballad of Darren, which does mark their third attempt at reuniting and putting out new music. And it certainly is proving to be an exciting time for Britpop's big three. We have actually seen the return of Blur, we've seen the return of Pulp as well, and also the sparking rumours of Liam and Noel getting back together, possibly to try and reform Oasis. Is something that certainly a lot of people are trying to put into works. And for Blur, we have certainly seen them evolve over time. We've seen them go from this more rockish styling with songs such as Song 2 that they'd have in their early days to something much softer and much more lullish recently, and that's going to be shown probably through this track as well. And the changing sound could be a sign of the times, but it could also be from Damon Albarn's work with Gorillaz. Really starting to see some of those elements just digress across into Blur's music as he's been influenced by a lot of the things that he's been writing for them. So will this latest track be narcissistic or holistic? Let's take a look at exactly how it sounds.
Looked in the mirror, so many people standing there. I walked towards them into the floodlight. I heard no echo. There was distortion everywhere. I felt my ego. I felt Roberto standing there. Found my transcendence. It played in mono painted blue. You were the hero. I was the dark room.
So I really like with this first verse how we get this soft intro, we get really Damon and Graham working beautifully together with the extensions on the layering of the vocals at the end of some of these lines. And I like how straight away we get this idea of reflection coming in. Looked in the mirror, so many people standing there. I walked towards them into the floodlights. We're seeing a lot of references to either all or nothing, very much from the idea of floodlights. It could be into the bright lights, but this idea of floodlights, this idea of so many people, we're seeing lots of references to a big amount of people or big amount of things really being shown through that. Transcendent, this idea of something really big that is constantly coming through. So this idea of kind of everything or nothing almost, the idea of no echo, but there was distortion everywhere. So I like how the word choices really kind of do reflect that idea. And we've also got the idea of rubato, the idea of speeding up and then slowing down. So that's kind of coming across almost like a heartbeat, kind of being sped up and then really slowed down. And you've also got the reference to Piero, the sad clown whose heart was broken by Columbine, who kept leaving him for Harlequin. It's kind of tied to French and Italian theatre. So lots of really interesting lyrics that are coming in. The idea of I was the dark room. So this kind of emphasis that Damon Albarn is put somebody else and make them become the sad clown because they've kind of left them for something else, whether it be another person or this transcendent that they found, this kind of thing they've moved on to.
I'm a shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. If Godspeed, I'll heed the sign. I saw the solstice, the service station on the road. I took the acid under the white horses. My heart it quicker. I could not tear myself away. Became addiction. If you see darkness, look away.
So I really like with verse 2 how we start to see this evolution. We're seeing the reference to drug use, substance misuse, the idea of I took the acid. But I love how you've also got more references to this idea of everything or nothing. The idea of the solstice, the longest or shortest day. So again, referencing this idea of all or nothing, really becoming enveloped by something. The idea of under light horses, which is just tied to a kind of a lot of British culture as well. And the idea they're also making this a journey. They're about kind of drugs that take you on these journeys at the service station, kind of being on the road, and just lots of things like that really show this idea. My heart it quickens, so speeding up, and if you see darkness, look away. So kind of tying to the start of that verse with the idea of the solstice of kind of darkness creeping in almost. So I really do like how they're referencing on these ideas, and we're seeing the track build and really see this emphasis on how effectively drugs kind of tore Damon Albarn's character in this situation away from somebody. That was the thing that made their partner become the sad clown, because he went into a dark space and was kind of enveloped by drugs, and kind of that took kind of premise over his relationship.
I'm the shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With God's speed, I heed the signs. Oh, glorious world. Oh, potent wave, valleys gone wild. Connect us to love and keep us peaceful for a while.
And I really like how with the chorus as well, we see this idea, I'll be shining light in your eyes. Almost like effectively Damon Albarn's character is trying to put the blame onto somebody else for his addiction, for his substance misuse, and then that person will shine it back. So the idea of look away being kind of emphasised with these backing vocals to try and shield yourself almost, or look away from these bright lights and things like that. So it could tie in with the idea of substance and seeing things, hallucinations, but certainly kind of putting the spotlight onto somebody and kind of putting the blame onto somebody as well. But I won't fall this time. With Godspeed, I'll heed the signs. And Godspeed being sort of a wish for success given to a person on parting. So again, tying to this idea of this journey that's being gone through, whether it be a journey towards sort of being clean of a substance, or the journey that the drugs can effectively take you on. So it keeps it a little bit ambiguous, but certainly shows a lot of references to the idea of journeys, the idea of you can have all or nothing as well. So I like how everything's really enveloped within this track, and the lyrics do reflect that very, very well.
I'm a shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With God's speed, I heed the sign. I'm a shining light in your eyes. You probably shine it back on me, but I won't fall this time. With God's speed, I heed the signs. I won't fall this time. With God's speed, I heed the signs.
And I really do like how we get this build towards the end of the track as well. Just really gives it a strong finish just into that kind of softer closing. But just great to see how musically it's got a really nice pacing to it. It's not over the top. It's not forcing you on this rush journey. It almost does have this kind of lullishness to it, to kind of emphasise the idea of this journey you're going on. Kind of, even though it can be quite tough, there's certainly elements of kind of sorrow and reflectiveness being brought in, which is aided by the pace of the music as well, and these almost dreamlike kind of backing vocals that we have got included as well. So I really do like many of the elements on this track, and I love the lyrics as well. The references to the idea of it being a journey, the idea of kind of drugs or substance misuse tearing somebody away from their partner, and kind of working towards kind of putting things back together, almost going clean, going on that journey to kind of find a better future. So some really strong lyrics that really just reflect a great way the meaning that it's trying to convey, and the emotiveness comes through as well from the meaning and through some of the effects that they've also put onto the track. So that will be everything for today's video, but as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts about this track in the comments section below. You're quite excited to get to hear the new album when it does drop in July. I certainly am. I always love to hear new music from Blur or Gorillaz, any of those two. I really do like a lot of the work that Damon Albarn does, because he is very unique in his songwriting and in a lot of the music he does produce, but puts a lot of emphasis and a lot of power into much of his music. So this will hopefully be an album that's packed full of those same qualities as their previous releases. Also, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next Audio Analysis.